Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 29th day. Happy birthday to my sister, Olivia. Birthday today. Got a great show with you on for tonight. Going to give it grades. I mentioned this last night. Grade out these head coaching hires. We still have one vacancy left, and obviously, like I said, it's still the New Orleans Saints. And 30 minutes past the hour, Coach Kevin Carroll will be on. He'll be on the program. Now, I sent him the link. I haven't heard back from him, but he did say he would be interested in coming on the program tonight. Going to ask him about the national championship. And, of course, we'll get his thoughts on these championship games, the Super Bowl. What's he think about Josh Allen's career? And, of course, Patrick Mahomes and whatnot. So, got a big show with you for tonight. Stand by. Let's take our first and only break, and I'll be back here momentarily, and we'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then. I want to give a special shout out to a friend of mine, a newly friend, lady I picked up in Uber today. I told you folks I do Uber on the way to work and on the way home from work. And Crissy Crochet So Funny is her Twitter handle. Crochet is a comedian out of here in Nashville, Tennessee. Hopefully looking to bring Crochet on the program. Been wanting to bring comedians on for a while and kind of get their take on how they go about their craft and whatnot. Very funny, more successful than me, actually. She has only been doing comedy bits and sketches on Instagram for about a year. And Crochet has got 320,000 followers. She does skits with her children, particularly with her daughters. Very funny. Going to try to bring her on possibly Wednesday of next week. Get an interview with her. Probably 35 minutes or so, 30. I got a feeling she's going to be a great interview. She's been on one of her skits have been on a national TV show. I'm going to ask her about that and get the lady's name because I saw it on her Instagram feed. I've been off Instagram for a while. I guess I'm going to have to get back on there. A lot of people do still like Instagram. But her as Crissy So Funny is the name of her handle, and plus she's got a YouTube channel as well. Again, and we will plug this next week. She is so funny. The Clack family is the name. The CLACK family here is her YouTube handle, which is really funny. She does cooking bits. She's with her 3 kids, the 2 girls and her son. Picked them up at school today. Very funny, very talented. She's going to be a big star, and she's a Nashville You don't start off in 1 year and burst out to 300,000 Instagram followers. And of course, I want to say her page has, I want to say she told me she's got 30,000 subscribers here, 26,000, 26.3 thousand subscribers here on her YouTube channel. So she, very, very successful early on. And she said she's going to come on the program. So look at the at CLACK Family 2398. That's the channel, or just look up the Clack Family on YouTube. Going to be a really good interview. Hope to get Chrissy on one day next week, and maybe her kids as well. She's really funny, really funny there. Yes, I already said happy birthday to my sister Olivia, who also shares the program. Shout out today, January 29th. I don't know if she wants me to say her age on the air, so I won't. But I'd love to blaze her because she would blaze me, but I'm not like that. Thank you, Miss Jane Campbell, also known as my mom. So anyways, got a lot to talk about today on today's program. I better get right to it because I got a feeling my man usually pops in early. I hope he didn't forget. He normally does not forget. Oh, nope, just gave me the thumbs up. Kevin Carroll is consistent as he was when I went to school with him over 20 years ago at Austin Peay. Okay, grading these coaches. Now, I ranked these job opens a couple weeks ago, and a lot of you like that. Yeah, I put the clips out. A lot of you got some good feedback from that. So right now, I am grading these jobs, and we've only got 6 or 7 filled. And like I said the other day, and keep on saying that the Saints is the worst job, and that's why it's taken the longest to get filled. It looks like Keelan Moore of the Eagles is the favorite from what I'm reading to get that job. If you're looking to get your first head coaching job and get the experience, I get it. But even a lot of guys do not get second job opportunities. I would really be careful about taking a job like the Saints with all their cap issues and no real clear path in sight. I'm not sure I like what Nicky Loomis has done down there. I think they should move off Loomis and blow that team up. So that's still opening. Keelan Moore's got to coach the Super Bowl next week. I understand that. I got a feeling he's going to get that job. Okay, let's go through them. All righty then. Now, number one, no particular order. This is just the way I wrote it down when I did my notes tonight. Ben Johnson from the Chicago Bears. As I told you before, I like this hire. Didn't love the hire until I got some type of confirmation that Dennis Allen was going to be hired as the defensive coordinator with that combo. The former Saints head coach, very good coordinator. Not a good head coach, but very good coordinator. I think that match between Johnson and Allen would be a force to be reckoned with. Allen, a much older, experienced coach, can help out with maybe a few head coaching pointers that Johnson may not have figured out already. So I've mentioned the fact that you're pairing him with Caleb Williams with what he has done. By the way, Detroit, top 5, not this year. Remember, they're top 5 in offense 2 years in a row, folks. So you have that combination there of you have that combination there with the schemes that he run, and I got a feeling that Caleb may be a more talented, may have a higher air quote ceiling than a Detroit's Jared Goff, and we know what he did with Jared Goff and that offense over in Detroit. As I mentioned, they still need to get help on that line. I think that will get addressed with the 10th pick overall. And I think they will get to the playoffs next year, even though it's a very tough division. I like their defensive personnel. We know about DJ Moore. We know about Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet. Who was that? That you know about their running back game there. So it's second year quarterback. I think that's an A- hire. Maybe could have made an A+ if it would have been a Mike McCarthy hire, but because he does not have head coach experience. But I think if you are a Chicago Bear fan, that your John Rastanos of the world, you should be ecstatic. Corey, got a great guest coming on. Got a local coming on next week there, Corey. Very good comedian. Hopefully get her on. She went to Maplewood and it's got 300,000 followers and only been doing skits for a year. And I'm hoping to have that friend on next week, not to interrupt the program in the middle of it. But you never know who you're going to meet out here on these Nashville streets here doing Uber. And she's got a really funny Uber skit she did on her Instagram. Really cool person I met this afternoon here. So anyways, the Chicago Bears, I remember, Corey, you telling me you like the Bears growing up. I think they got an A-, possibly A+ hire there. And Ben Johnson, the coordinator from Detroit, adding in with Dennis Allen. Remember Dennis Allen, the coordinator, folks, shutting Tom Brady out, beat Tom Brady a couple times as the Saints coordinator there. I think this is going to be really good. The Bears fans should be ecstatic now that we know that Allen, I want to say it was yesterday, Allen's been made official as the DC. So that is a home run hire, in my opinion, essentially. Okay, number 2, New England, Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel with the combination of Josh McDaniels, with the combination of Corey says, wow, just bought a Maplewood shirt at Walmart. Yeah, this woman's really funny. I can't wait to bring her on. One of her skits got used on a woman's TV show, some national show. I couldn't recall the lady's name, with her daughter. Really funny. I can't wait. I hope I can get some other comedians on the program because I love me some comedians. They're like athletes. You got to prepare for the show, just like you are. You're a pro boxer, a pro football player, whatnot. But anyways, so Mike Vrabel to New England with Josh McDaniels. Remember Vrabel got the Titans down here, AFC Championship game a few years ago with Ryan Tannehill, got the number 1 seed a few years later. A lot of what happened with Vrabel here was the offensive line basically fell apart at once. He butted heads with the managers and GMs, and everything kind of fell apart. It wasn't because he was a bad coach. He had Tennessee ready in big games. With that hire, I think this is also an A hire. These are 2 high quality hires. Maybe an A+ once we see how McDaniels works with their quarterback Drake May, who I think he's a Pro Bowl alternate today, if I'm not mistaken here. With all that money there, they're going to be playing with a lot of swagger. Very good chance to make the playoffs as well next year. Yes, they got that 4 pick, $120 to $130 million in cap room. Vrabel, a big game coach here. They're going to be playing with a lot of swagger next year. I'm curious of what they do with all that money. Probably going to get another receiver, but they got their coach. Very good hire there for the New England Patriots at number 2. Now things start to go a little haywire here. If I would have had more time, I would have got Liam Cohen. There's a bite here. Some of you may have seen. I shared it on my Facebook page there. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator, not even been a coordinator, but just a few years, 2 years. He's worked with the Rams. He's worked with with Kentucky football in the college. But I will say this, Cohen, only 39 years old. Baker Mayfield, got to give him credit, though. Baker Mayfield, total career year, 70-plus completion percentage for Baker Mayfield. Career high in passing yards as well for Mayfield under Cohen. But it was just 1 year. Remember, the head coach now of the Carolina Panthers got the job because of Mayfield's numbers. The year before that, Mayfield's really got in there and worked hard and found life in the NFL as a starting quarterback. When we all wrote him off, me particularly, as a total bust when he was drafted with the Cleveland, the Duval. The Duval Cohen, he says it, looks kind of like a nerdy guy that's trying too hard. Chad sees what I said. I tried to get the sound bite, didn't have time to get that. He sounds a little bit like that guy running for president about 20 years ago, and I can't remember the guy's name that goes, it was pretty much the end of that guy's career. But anyways, so the fact that this guy with the Duval chant, him being 39 years old, I do not know what their coaching staff's going to look like. Remember, this is the guy who said that he wanted to take the Jacksonville job. Then he meets Trent Baalke, Corey, and I made an example of this Trent Baalke, this general manager that that coaches around the league do not want to work with, kind of like some of the bosses we had at the security job, Corey. And of course, I mentioned to Carlos, the Mad New Yorker, on Friday, a week or two ago, about our professor there, Doc V. The guy I couldn't stand to be in the same room with the guy. But anyways, that general manager, so unlikable, really scared off a lot of really good candidates there for a long time. Then finally, the owner fires the guy, even after Sean Cohen, even after saying that you do not have to report to Trent Baalke, you report directly to me. And so that got Cohen's attention. Cohen comes down there and he's like, no, I don't want to work with this guy. I mean, that's how toxic Trent Baalke is. So eventually we know what happened. Khan fired the general manager and hired this guy. I say all that stuff about the kind of cheesy Duval chant, kind of come off as a young guy, younger than 39, like a very immature way of sounding. Now, none of this matters if you're winning, but when you're hiring a coach that's supposed to tighten the culture up, Jacksonville looked way loose and unprepared under Doug Peterson. You would think that you would go opposite of Doug Peterson. The good news is I do like to have an offensive-minded head coach. The bad news is a lot of the offensive-minded head coaches who are young, who do not have experienced coordinators, preferably former head coaches that are coordinators, could have the same problem under the new coach, if that makes any sense. You don't want to be sloppy again next year. Now, if you're in Nashville, like I'm, doing a program from, where your Corys and your Chads here in Middle Tennessee, that's good news. That means the Titans are going to have a leg up on Jacksonville probably next year. Now, as far as grading this, as you can see, I'm not too high on it. I gave it a C- because he's offensive-minded. I would have gave it a D, but the fact that he is offensive-minded, Baker Mayfield did have a career year last year. So we'll see what happens. Not the best. I would have hired Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl experience. Look at the 12-win seasons that he's had with Dallas. And as people that seeing Jerry Jones, he is deteriorating. Jerry Jones is flying off the handle. We saw him fly off the handle a few months ago with the radio guys saying, I'm not going to if you're going to talk bad about, I mean, he's just getting more and more obnoxious and whatnot, and almost to the fact that he seems to be off a little bit. He's not quite as sharp as he was just 5 years ago. Quite frankly, he kind of reminds me, just between us, okay, just between me and the audience here, he kind of reminds me of our former president, Joe Biden, a little bit, because Biden's a little bit off, and that's putting it lightly. Not to go political, but, Jerry's he's getting up there in age, and they're both around the same age. So, boy, I'm way off. I'm way off on everything. Anywho, let's see. I said all that because I'm getting to Dallas, and Dallas. I mean, it's definitely got to be the worst hire. It may be the worst hire that they've made as the Cowboys, if you ask me. I guess I'll go ahead and go on to Dallas here. Brian Schottenheimer, I'm a little bit out of order here. As I mentioned yesterday, he's not even calling the plays for Dallas. He was fired from Seattle a few years ago. Probably one of the only few options for Dallas due to Jerry becoming difficult and him having cap issues with $90 million, again, tied up in just Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb per year. So it's a D- hire. He's offensive minded, but he don't run a good offense. We don't know what kind of offense he's going to do. And I love how Jerry tries to spin it and says, well, hey, listen, this is a big chance right here. This guy has it's a big chance. It may be the only one you had. So people talks about Deion. I don't think Deion wanted that job. I just it hasn't came out yet, but I think it will come out eventually, maybe after the draft. I don't think Deion wants to do anything to jeopardize his son's draft status. So, okay. So that's D-, practically an F hire, in my opinion, with Brian Schottenheimer. Number 4 here, a little out of order, because I kind of get off a little bit myself, have my own Jerry Jones moments. Now, the Raiders, Pete Carroll, if he were 10 years younger, I would make this an A hire, but the fact that he's 74, I put it at like a B-. Remember, Carroll's 2 stints of professional and college national championships, Super Bowl wins. And once you kind of see that once he left Seattle, you realize that they're pretty much the same team. He really wasn't the problem. They just need to get a better quarterback there, per se. He will stabilize things there. I think he'll put a pretty good staff around him. We'll see what happens with their quarterbacks. But we know Pete Carroll, he's won the last 2 stops he's had. And he's shown that he really wants to coach. So kudos for taking that. Aaron Glenn, pretty disappointed. Listen, Aaron Glenn, Woody Johnson says I have to be a better owner. That's what that's not my words. Of course he's got to be a better owner. Like Bill Belichick said, ready, fire, aim. Glenn being a defensive guy there, Glenn, defense not bad this past year. 7th overall, points allowed. Particularly the fact that they lost a lot of big players, including their best player, Aiden Hutchinson. Aaron Glenn, former player, played there in 94, Coach Carroll, which I see backstage. And I'm going to bring you up just a second, brother. Appreciate you getting in early. Man, this dude is – man, he's not always there when I call, but he's always on time. Love this dude. Appreciate you, man. But him being a defensive guy, I've heard his staff is unknown, but the ones that he's got don't have that much experience. I'm thinking C-. I was going to go lower, but Glenn seems to have a pretty strong presence there. Not a good. I thought they would go offensive-minded, but they went defensive-minded. They should have just kept Robert Saleh, in my opinion. And again, of course, the New Orleans Saints, folks. it's still open. And on that note, I need to bring one of my favorite guests on here, Coach Kevin Carroll, but I got to get the crowd ready to give him a good standing. What's up, man?
What's going on, dude?
Man, oh, not much here. Just busy as all get out here. Man, I got to get your thoughts on Sunday's game. That was a big, 57 million people watched that Buffalo Kansas City game. And I was talking to a senior citizen doing Uber on the way here, and she said, wow, what a game that was. I'm surprised at how many people are still NFL fans.
Yeah.
From different places. What's your thoughts about that game? What did the refs help Kansas City out with that spot with Buffalo not getting that first down? What do you think? Don't let me give you my opinion.
I'm gonna be honest. I wish that hadn't happened because I'm tired of seeing it, and I'm tired of hearing about the refs in Kansas City.
Me too, man.
You know what?
Too.
Every game you watch, the refs suck. They just focus on Kansas City because they've been winning the way they've been winning. And they did the same thing with the Patriots. I mean, when the Patriots were winning, it was all
it's deja vu all over again, Coach.
The truth is, whoever is winning, everybody's going to be treating them the same way. They're going to be saying, "Oh, it's the refs, it's this, it's that. Oh, it's scripted." I'm so sick of hearing it. Like people, "Oh, it's rigged." I'm like, and I
they put the Giants in the Super Bowl, the big
market. Right. I put a big post on Facebook, rigged, and I had everybody liking it and commenting. They didn't know
sarcastic.
I was trolling them all is what I was doing. Because they sound ridiculous. They sound ridiculous saying rigged. Look, Kansas City, you can look, average people, they hate greatness or they don't appreciate greatness. Above average people appreciate greatness. Look, they're great. I'm not a Chiefs fan by any means.
Right.
But but you have to appreciate Patrick Mahomes. And I don't say this lightly. I don't throw around the greatest ever real easy like that. But I actually think that in my mind, he's getting there. He could be the best to ever do it, man. He's that good, dude. It's just crazy.
That's what this senior was telling me. This woman, Loda, she knew a lot about football. I look back at it, I said, man, I started to say, ma'am, are you Amy Adams Strunk?
Right. As far as the game's concerned, even if they did get that first down, I still think Kansas City finds a way to win because all it does is they chew up a little bit more time, and they probably get a field goal, and then I believe Kansas City probably goes and scores a touchdown. So when Buffalo gets the ball at the end, they just don't have as much time as they did at the end. So, I mean, and that's just hypothetical. Nobody knows what really would have happened. But if I'm thinking about, okay, who's going to win? Is it going to be Patrick Mahomes or is it going to be Josh Allen? I'm going Patrick Mahomes every time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to get into the Super Bowl picks. I was going to say,
I'll get that later.
Okay. I'll hold that then. But
hold just that thought there,
just for now, I'm just going to say.
Do you think I've recorded the game, Kevin? I watched it 3 or 4 times in my own slow motion, and I watched every angle. And I wanted Buffalo. I would love to see Buffalo win. Get back in the Super Bowl, and that just was not a first down. His back was when your back is turned, the ball was pointing this way.
I'm actually with you. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't think he got it. And then the
linebackers are really good for Kansas City.
I've seen all the different angles and everything because man, they are cheesing this thing up so much, and they draw that line. And I seen the one that said, okay, he didn't get it, and they showed the line, and I'm like, that's what I saw when I watched the game right there. I didn't think he got it. And then, you know what? It's so close, and you can't see the ball. There's absolutely no way you can overturn that. You don't know where the ball is, first of all, but you can picture in your mind where he had the ball. And I saw the one, it showed his head, and the line was right here, and he has the ball right, basically right there. Yeah. And because you knew when he had it, because he had it, it was just below shot. You couldn't really see it. But I'm sitting here like that's what I thought originally. I didn't think he got it, and
I wanted to be wrong. I mean,
it's not
sometimes
this.
it just is what it is. It's a tough
It is,
loss, man.
It's not this big egregious, anomaly that the world is making it out to be. I mean, everybody needs to lose so bad that
There's so many memes that going out
yeah.
there.
Oh, it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not. I mean, there's bad calls in every game. It's the Chiefs is just the one that's got the magnifying glass on them right now, and that's why we continuously hear about it.
Do you think Josh Allen will ever win a Super Bowl with this Buffalo Bill team?
There might be a year when Patrick Mahomes is out for the season or something like that. I mean, it's funny,
it's like
but
Jordan or something, huh?
I'm serious as a heart attack.
Yeah,
I'm serious as a heart attack.
I believe you, brother.
I mean, he's hard to beat, man. I mean, this dude can win. He can win. Ain't no telling how many health, barring health. The man can win an endless number of Super Bowls. I think he's that good. He's just that good.
Yeah.
Until they run out of money and they just don't have anything around him, and then he's still going to be good enough to get you to the playoffs, minimum. Yeah. I mean, it's just the guy is good. He's amazing.
Yeah. And as far as Allen is concerned, the way I see it, man, maybe he'll have to take a massive pay cut so they can get some big time defensive players in there or some. I don't think it's offensive they need. They haven't Kansas City hadn't scored 30 points all year. They scored 32 points. Why ain't people giving the Buffalo defense a lot of flack?
I know. I mean, Allen's amazing. He's an amazing quarterback in the NFL. He's definitely, I'd say top 5 minimum, possibly top 3. I mean, that's how good he is. So, I mean, defense, their defense has played better throughout the course of the season. And I don't necessarily think it was because their defense was bad they gave up that many points. Mm-hmm. What happened was Mahomes is starting to get a little bit of chemistry with Hollywood Brown and these guys that have been out the whole season. And their offense would have been a lot better all season had they had the receivers healthy. I mean, and now that they're getting healthy, you're starting to see the result of that in the playoffs. And you just give Mahomes more weapons. I mean, he wasn't even hardly using Kelsey for the first 3 quarters of that game. Of course, then in the fourth quarter, he started getting some balls, but the receivers were tearing them up. I mean, they're just. I mean, you give a guy like that those kind of receivers, that's just what you're going to get. They're going to be hard to stop for anybody. It's an interesting matchup with Philadelphia. The defense.
Philly's built. They're built to beat them.
Yeah.
But they do it so that's a bigger task. They got to play until you get punched in the mouth. Titans get that pick for. Oh, I did not say they did not get it. They didn't get the set. They didn't get the 60%. He
had to play 60%. I don't know what his percentage was. I just know that it wasn't.
My bad, 60. Chad.
Yeah,
I was teasing that all weeks leading up to that.
No, that would have been nice. I mean, to get a 4th. I mean,
but they got the 5th and they've got 2 4s. So
yeah, they're good.
I think it's going to be okay. Let me hit you with this. You mentioned it already. If Patrick Mahomes wins next Sunday, where would you rank him all time? He's pretty far up there in my book, but I'm gonna put him way up. The only guy right now that I would put ahead of him is Brady. Okay.
I mean, number one, he would have done something that has never been done. So you got to give him credit for that. And then, number 2, his numbers are already better than Brady. But the thing that makes an NFL quarterback great is consistency over a long period of time. So he can't pass Brady until he's got more years in. I think that's just kind of one of those things. Brady, he's put up numbers too. I think Brady's best statistical year is better than any statistical year Mahomes has had. And that would, of course, be the 07-08 when he had
they didn't even win the Super Bowl that year. So.
Yeah, they didn't. They almost went undefeated, but they didn't win the Super Bowl. So and so I can't put because I don't I don't rate quarterbacks based on oh, look at him, he can run, he's got the best arm and this and that. I
Right.
rate him on accomplishments, and
Yeah.
nobody's more accomplished than Tom Brady. And I don't think he's by far.
So you would jump Elway, and you would jump
Yeah,
Montana.
I jump everybody right now. I mean,
Except for
honestly,
Brady, of course, with 7 rings, it's hard to really.
yeah,
It's
you
the
can't.
Michael Jordan, effect.
He's well accomplished, and the irony of it is he's not. He's by far not the most talented guy. Brady's not. I mean, talent wise, he's just
No.
not. I mean, he ain't got all the attributes that makes that they look for in these scouts and everything. He never had him, but he's just it shows that quarterback it's all up here, man.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. The last drive, we're talking 3 minutes going back to the game. 3 minutes and 33 seconds left. Did it look like Josh Allen was mentally defeated in that drive? To me, it looked like that he had checked out. It's like he just didn't have any more motion left in him. He didn't have that extra push to get him over the top. I felt like that he made some bad throws in that last drive. Like he was just mentally exhausted, Kevin.
I don't think he gave up. I just think after losing to a team 3 times, and that being the 4th, and you're in the spot where it might happen again, it's like a huge monkey on your back. I think he wanted it so bad. It's just it messed him up here. And
okay, so you did see some type of body language like I did. Okay, it's not just me.
It messed him up a little bit. It messed him up a little bit because that monkey started weighing on him. He's probably sitting there thinking, not again. Don't let me lose to these guys again.
You saw that deep breath he took at the podium the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel for the guy. I mean, I wish he could win a Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not a Bills fan by any means, but this guy, he's been back plenty of times and he just cannot get through.
He's like
Patrick
the Pistons
Mahomes.
trying to get past the Celtics, or the Bulls trying to get past the Pistons.
Right. It's just bad timing, man. It's like sometimes like Charles Barkley was my favorite player growing up, and he didn't win. He never won a championship because of Jordan. He
Jordan
just played
was
in that
killer, man.
He played in that era, man. Jordan took a lot of titles away from a lot of guys. I mean, it's just
Stockton, Malone,
yeah. It's just
I got a feeling, Clay Travis, he still does. He mentioned the Michael Jordan comparison, and by the way, I'm with you. I haven't dug into the numbers. But when I woke up Monday morning, I thought, if he wins in 2 weeks, which I'm leaning Kansas City, you got to put him in second, man. I mean, that's for a guy that's not, how old is he, 30?
I don't even think he's 30 yet.
I mean, this is unbelievable, man.
It's crazy. I mean,
4 out of 5 Super Bowls.
What I told you about, it's all up here, what Brady had. What's scary is, that's what Mahomes has. He has it up here.
Yes.
But then he's got all those attributes that makes quarterback that they look for in quarterback.
He does have arm strength.
He's got all of it. So he's the one that he's the athletic. He's got the ability and he's got the mind. And you put those both together, it's just that's what we got. We just got an unbelievable guy. And he won a
Super Bowl with the high ankle sprain a couple years ago.
Yeah, you got to appreciate, man. Like I said, I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm not really a Mahomes fan.
Tip your hat,
but I appreciate greatness. When I see it, and I was kind of, and I hated Tom Brady because of what he, beating the Titans over the years. But his last few years, I mean, I was savoring being able to watch him play. I'm like, I'm gonna soak this all in because it's almost over. He's about done. So You're watching the great.
The comeback against Atlanta was really impressive.
Yeah. Man, I told everybody, I said, when they were up, what was it? 28-3. I said, I was telling everybody that was watching the game with me, my family, we had a Super Bowl party. I said, look, they need one more. If they can get one more, they can win this. And they're like, what do you mean one more? They're up 28-3. I said, look, I've watched Brady play my whole life. Trust me, they need one more. I was like, they need one more. I knew it was coming. I was like, when they didn't get that other touchdown, when they, I think they almost got it and it was a pick or a fumble. It's been a while, but I think they were about to score again, and they had a turnover or something like that. And then I'm sitting there like, man, they needed that one. And everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, trust me, they needed that. I was like,
do you think Brady's looking at that thinking, I'm certainly glad that I did get greedy and get one with Tampa, and I got one other one with the New England back in 18, the boring Super Bowl ever.
Yeah.
Because now Patrick Mahomes is chomping at the bit. He's right on my rear end.
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you.
You think that's what he's thinking?
Yeah, barring injury, man, he's going to be a threat to it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I don't know how his game is going to carry on into the future, but looking at it right now, I don't see any signs of slowing down.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't had the best statistical years the last couple of years, but if you and everybody would say Lamar or Josh or these guys who got the stats, they'd be like, you got one game to win. Who do you want? Now, look, I'm taking Mahomes every time. I don't care about what everybody else's stats are. I could care less. Look, I know this guy will win me a game if it needs to be won.
But what do you say about Andy Reid's coaching? Everybody's giving you their A game. You've had all these injuries. You had Rashid Rice. You even mentioned him. He got out for the season. Second-year player. Kelsey's pretty much way past his career. Everybody giving their A game. You're two-time champions, and you still win 15 games. That's just in the regular season. What kind of coaching job is that?
It gets nullified because he's got Patrick Mahomes.
That's
no offense. No offense to Reid. I think he's
he draws all that stuff up for Mahomes.
I don't think I'm not taking credit away from him. I think he's a phenomenal coach. Don't get me wrong. Because he's done it in two different places without. He's gone to the Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes. But he ain't won one until he got Mahomes. And
Mahomes
I think
gets you over the top. Yeah.
That's not a coincidence. I mean, Mahomes, he's that good. Just like with Belichick and Brady, you take them. If he never plays for Belichick, I think Brady still wins minimum 4 Super Bowls with somebody else. And I'm not so sure Belichick wins a Super Bowl. And I mean, that's just my opinion. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's, maybe Reid wins one without Mahomes, but, I don't know. He never did. So, but, still doing a great coaching job. Don't get me wrong. But when you got somebody like Mahomes, he makes average players better. And then as long as you got a somewhat decent defense and you keep the game close, he can always win the game at the end of the game. I mean, you always got a chance if you got Mahomes calling the shots at the end of the game. I mean, he's an amazing player.
Yeah, he's made of rubber. I saw that injury and those stretches he was doing in that Netflix quarterback documentary thing.
I was about to bring that up. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He prepares for every single possible scenario and his drills and his strength coach. And I just thought that was pretty fascinating how, because they were practicing throwing the ball from weird angles and stuff like that. Stuff that you just normally wouldn't think about,
Yeah. And, he's got the LeBron James type of approach to his body.
Yeah.
LeBron spends like $1 million a year on his body. And Mahomes you've seen him get wrapped up between tackles and getting a lot of situations where you think he might not come back and the guy comes back,
Yeah, other quarterbacks would be out on some of the stuff he takes. So
yeah. Can Barkley be contained? That's a good run D, man. That's a good run D. I don't know. I don't know, Chad. Definitely break that game down next week. Plus, I'll have the Philly sports guy on next week. I'm gonna have to record an interview.
That's a key. That's a key right there. That's a big key.
It is. It is. Let's do some college, and we'll come back to that Super Bowl. Ohio State wins a national championship. Are they going to go on a run, or was just kind of a one-off because they spent all that money and Rondé got them to come together at the right time?
Hell, they just put $2 million together to get Carnell Tate back.
Okay.
And Smith got $4 million from them. I mean, they
so he's not going to enter the transfer portal, Jeremiah Smith.
Nope. They paid four and a half for Smith, and then 2 for Carnell Tate.
And that's the other receiver. Tate.
Yep, they got them both back. Because Tennessee, there's whispers about Tennessee trying to get Tate.
Oh man,
they shut that down real fast. They brought him in. They got him. They held him down. So I mean,
is he gonna? What do you think about this turnaround job by Ryan Day to get them to play that way after losing to Michigan like that?
I don't really think it was a turnaround. I just think Michigan, it's just one of those mental things, just like with Tennessee and Florida.
Like we talked about before.
Yeah, it's just a mental thing. I think they just had their normal hiccup against Michigan, and then then they come in the playoffs ready to go. And after I saw them against the Vols, I was sitting there like they're probably going to win it all. I was like
because Tennessee's defense ain't gave up that kind of points all year.
Nah. They haven't. And Tennessee's got it. I still believe their defense was legit. It's just they just ran into a better team. That's just the way it is. You just gotta just hand it to Ohio State. They had a good ball team.
You think they're going to repeat? Well, Howard won't be back though.
Yeah, he won't be back. But they had the number 1 quarterback recruit in the nation that transferred from Alabama.
Okay, that's right.
He's just a freshman. Now, how good is he going to be? I don't know. And then there's also a chance that they'll get a transfer in there. Who knows? But they're still going to be good. They'll probably be really good moving forward, indefinitely. I mean, because they can just get the athletes. Before the NIL stuff, their recruiting has always been top notch the last several years. So I mean, they'll still be good. Whether they repeat or not, I don't know, because the NIL is kind of evening out the playing field. I think there's going to be some more really good teams coming out next year. And I don't look at anybody like the playoffs being one-sided like they were every year. I think this is just the first year, and I think they're going to make some adjustments to kind of fix that. I think it's going to be more of a seeding conference title get you in, but it doesn't get you a bye and stuff like that. I think they're.
You think they will fix that? Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to work that. They're going to do some work on that to get that a little more evened out, and I think it'll make. They're going to try to get the best game in the championships. What they're going to try to do. So.
Right. Yeah. Oregon seems to have gotten the raw end of the deal. Do you think there's going to be a drought in the SEC due to money? You get your trolls at Fox Sports kind of throwing that out there. You're calling kind. I thought people love football too much down here. They're going to come up with the money between Texas, LSU, and Alabama.
They'll come up with the money. Tennessee's going to come up with the money. They've got one of the best NIL collectives with collectives with Spire, and I mean, they're going to be able to come up with the money when they need it. So I mean, I expect probably spring transfers when they'll probably get some more.
That's coming up in April. Do you think? Now, I've said on this program time and time again, we saw it in the Georgia game, we saw it at Ohio State. They need defensive tackle, big girth guys type of guy. Do you think they foresee them getting a big transfer coming up in April for Tennessee to put them competitive?
I know they were trying to get a defensive tackle from Wisconsin. I don't know if what happened with that. They ended up getting 2 pretty good offensive linemen. Okay. And who else did they get? They got somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, they got some guys. They got like 4 or 5 guys through the transfer portal, some of them on the defensive side of the ball. So,
and there's another one coming up in April, right?
Yeah. Whenever the spring transfer portal opens in the spring sometime. Okay. I don't know the exact date.
I thought it was on the tax day, April 15th.
It might be. I'm not sure.
I just I think that if they can't do that, I feel like they've kind of hit their ceiling, man. I think they're going to be hovering around that 10th range if they don't get that, because that seems to be the same problem against your Georgias of the world. And you could see they just couldn't get a hand on Carson Beck, man.
That was
Couldn't
the
get it above
biggest
them.
problem. That was the biggest problem right there. They couldn't get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
I think stopping the run and stuff, they're fine. It's
Yes.
just and the problem I want to question the scheme on trying to pressure the quarterback because it seems like they don't rush like they do when they play better teams. It's like
Yeah.
they just kind of they don't blitz as much. They drop everybody back, and I'm like, I just think you got to take chances. Like they
Yeah.
didn't blitz Howard at all. He sit back there and did whatever he wanted to do. Now, would a change in the scheme to beat Ohio State? I don't think so. I think it makes it a better game. I don't
Yeah.
think but yeah, they were just on, and he was making some throws that were just crazy, and the receivers were catching everything. It was just, but he's got to be better in games against Georgia and Ohio State teams like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, they got to dial up the pressure, and they got some really good edge rushers coming up. So, hopefully that helps, and hopefully
Yeah.
they scheme better going into
And I noticed
the big game.
their coordinator did sign an extension, by the way, too.
Yeah, he did. I'm glad he's staying. I'm
Yeah.
not one of these who are like, oh, he needs to be fired, because he gave up all
Because
those
he's had
points.
some really good games, too.
Yeah, yeah.
These other two games stand out. Like
He's brought that defense all the way back to like ranked 80 something, all the way into the top 10. So he's a good defensive coordinator. But he's learning.
You think
as
that
you
there's
go.
still another level for Tennessee to go at? You don't
Oh
think
yeah,
that
for
they're
sure, for
stuck at
sure.
10th?
For sure. I'm
Okay.
not worried about their defense as much as I am offensively. And moving forward, I actually think they could have a better offensive line this next season. I think there's more talent. They just got to get the chemistry with all those guys.
Yes, that's what I've heard too. Yeah.
But as far as defense, I'm good on offense. I want to see a receiver that can get some separation. Nico can't miss as much, which I don't think he will. I think he'll improve, and I think
so too.
He'll be ready to go once the season starts. And like I said, he needs some better guys on receiver. Now, some of those guys might already be on the team. They just haven't been on the field yet. That receiver that transferred from Alabama.
Okay.
He was like a 4-star coming out. He was in Chattanooga, I think.
Okay.
And he played for a private school in Chattanooga. So they got him now, so he'll be in the mix. And then they still got Brazel. Mike Matthews will absolutely be on the field this year. So
is he in the Matthews family? Through Bruce Matthews.
Oh no,
Matthews?
no, it's
just a coincidence.
The kid from he's from Georgia, black kid from
Okay.
Georgia. Yeah, not the same race. He's a black kid.
Oh, okay. Hey, man, that's a bloodline.
He was a 5-star though. He was a 5-star coming out of Georgia. So
okay,
he's
the black
a good.
guy's funny.
Really, the lack of being able to think of a better way to say it, African American, whatever you want to call it.
No, it's okay. No, because you know what I'm talking about. Bruce Matthews with the Titans.
Oh yeah, I get it.
I think they have a tackle that played for the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken. He's like a nephew.
I know that Clay Matthews was a linebacker.
He played for Green Bay. Yeah, and they had a tackle.
No, you're not. You're Clay Matthews.
They're all in the same family.
Clay Matthews, he played linebacker for the Browns in the 80s and the 90s. The Matthews you're talking about for Green Bay was I can't think of his name. There was another one that played linebacker for Philadelphia.
I thought his name was Clay.
It might be Clay. It might be. It might be Clay Matthews. It might, because Clay Matthews was Bruce Matthews' brother. It might be Clay Matthews' son, and they might be
Clay Matthews Jr.
Possibly, yeah, that might be what it was. And there's another Matthews that played for Philadelphia as a linebacker. He went to Oregon. He played for Oregon, and then
and he's also in the same family.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's a nephew.
They're pretty good, man. The Matthews family.
They're all good. They're all good football players.
Kind of like the Bosas, man.
Yep.
AJ Hawk, Clay Matthews. Yeah, it is Clay. Yeah, outside linebacker. Yeah, played on that 2010. Chad has said, is Nimrod still there? I don't know. It's Squirrel White. I think he also went to the pros.
Nimrod transferred.
What about Squirrel White? Didn't he?
Squirrel went to Florida State.
Oh, he transferred.
Yeah,
Oh
he went to
man.
Florida State. Yep. Nimrod transferred. I don't remember where he went though. I want to say Virginia or Virginia Tech. I'm not 100% on that,
Mm.
but yeah,
Well,
he
what do you
transferred.
think about this Super Bowl? We got about 5 minutes left. I think if anybody's built to beat them, it's Philadelphia, player for player, right?
They're absolutely built to beat them. My analysis for this game is the exact same it was when they played Philly a few years ago in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Philly has the better overall team,
Yes.
and Patrick Mahomes is good enough to overcome that.
He's the equalizer.
that to me, I the last time I said Philly's the better team, but I'm leaning KC because of
Same here.
Mahomes. I think he'll do just enough to win this game. If Philly is to win this game, what I believe needs to happen is I think Saquon needs 200 yards.
Wow.
Saquon needs 200 yards. If he can get 200 yards, I believe that raises
James Cook
Philly's
had a
chance
couple
of
touchdowns. He would have had
yeah.
75. Yeah.
Yeah, that raises Philly's chance to win this game a whole lot if Saquon can get 200 yards, because to me, Saquon's the MVP of the league. I think he should get it this year. He's been phenomenal.
Well,
I
he's
mean,
definitely of the playoffs.
if
He,
you
so
look
far?
at his total yards right now, like regular season and playoffs, I bet you he's over 2,500 yards rushing. I mean, come on, that's amazing. I mean, I don't think that's ever been done when you combine. No, granted, they're playing 18 games now, so I mean that helps a little. But I mean, he's just been amazing. He needs to play that way, and they need to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And they're good at that. That's one thing they're good at. So I'm interested in seeing this game, and I think it'll be a good ball game. But I'm slightly leaning Kansas City because I think Mahomes.
Yeah, we got a week to go. Anything can happen. You could change your mind because practice is next week. You never know if somebody gets injured.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an incident. You never know.
Well, here's the thing. You got to look at it everybody's like, oh, well, they've won Super Bowls. They don't, they're not jazzed for this like they have been. They have nothing else to play for but their legacy. And your legacy is basically relying on doing something no team has ever done. That's motivation right there. Yes. I mean, like what else, they can lose this one and come back and win another Super Bowl next year, but this will probably be their last chance to win 3 in a row. So it's like nothing.
You think they're going to feel pressure in this game, Kansas City?
No, I think they're motivated. I think this motivates them to win 3. I think this is like, it's like winning 2 is one thing. That's great, but nothing that has never been done. Yeah. I feel like that's what's pushing them right now. That's what's wanting them to. That's what is fueling Patrick Mahomes, the whole team. I mean, I think that's really what's doing it for him, and I think that'll probably push them to victory. Which if they do get it, that's fine. Like I said, as long as it's a good game, I'm happy with it. I don't care who wins really, but I want Trey Smith going to the Titans after this season.
Is he a free agent?
Yeah, he's a free agent. We got that GM from Kansas City. So
Borzo, whatever. Yeah, heck yeah, man. Yeah. I keep thinking that they've made some mistakes on their line, Kansas City.
Yeah,
and they still find ways to win because you got that equalizer.
Do we got a minute to talk about the Titans pick, man?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry I ran out of time. What do you think about that? They got the first overall pick. I was excited.
Yeah, I'm glad they got that for sure. Yeah,
I forgot to get to that. What do you think? What would your best? I saw you say something on Facebook the other day. You'd kind of like to see them go trade that thing down.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because I think at this point, draft capital is probably the most important thing that they need. That they need to build their team from the draft period, and they can trade down and still get the player that I want them to get. They can still get the best, which I think is the best player in the draft, which is Abdul Carter. I think he's the best player in the draft, and I think
he's a beast.
You could trade down to 3 and possibly even 6, and I think those are the 2 teams that it's the Raiders and who's the third one? The
Raiders,
Giants. Those are the two teams that probably are going to go quarterback. So you could probably trade down to either one of those.
If they went to the Raiders would have to put multiple first-round picks.
Yes. So you could. This is what I'm saying. If you could just go down to 3, you could probably get their third pick, of course, and then possibly next year's first, and then probably another pick or so later in the draft.
Maybe get a third round and get your third round back,
and still get the guy that you want. Which I'm hoping they're wanting Abdul Carter. Now I have no idea what they're thinking about. I love
Abdul Carter, man.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking about. I mean, you got to realize, look at from our perspective, we're going to be relying on our defense for probably 2 seasons before we really get because it's going to take that long before we get our quarterback. Whoever
you see that clip I put out the other day. The Eagles model is through the draft and extremely aggressive on upgrading just about every single position. And look how good the Eagles have been. And nothing against Jalen Hurts. He's not Josh Allen. He's not. You just mentioned how special Mahomes is. But they had – who's the guy they had last year? DeAndre Swift, whatever.
Swift, yeah.
He was a 1,000-yard running back last year. And they said no. He was already on the roster, and he was a free agent. They could have re-signed him. He already knew the playbook and everything. They said, no, we want to go after Saquon Barkley and get 2,000 yards.
That was
They had Devontae Smith, Kevin.
Perfect fit.
And they went out and traded for Tennessee's A.J. Brown. So what you're saying for Tennessee to trade down, that's kind of like – I think that model's easier than finding that great quarterback that's hard to find, Kevin.
It is. You can still get the player you want and pick up more draft capital. And I mean, maybe draft a quarterback later.
Look how good Detroit is. A lot of that was from that Stafford trade.
Yeah. I don't know. Speaking of Detroit, I don't know if you saw Hendon Hooker is going to the Jets.
Really? He's following Aaron Glenn?
Yep, he's going to the Jets. So
I thought Aaron Glenn was a bad pick. I thought he was like a C- because he's defensive minded. But I like Aaron Glenn, but I just I would have went offensive. I would have tried to get McCarthy back and made it work with him and Rodgers. And Rodgers on his way out the door anyways.
Yeah. He's done. Had great career, probably underachieved a little bit. But, I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he's always been a good player. But, yeah.
Hooker, that's a good – you broke some news. I have to look at that. Now, he's slipped off a little bit with Detroit, but, I still haven't given up on him.
No, he ain't really had a chance to play. I mean, he needs to go. They may give him a shot to start in New York, which would be great. I mean, I wouldn't be against him, and not just because he's a Vol or a former Vol. I wouldn't be against him coming to the Titans and seeing what he could do, because in the draft, in my opinion, I thought he was better than Will Levis. Will Levis maybe stronger arm and this and that, but I feel like Hendon Hooker's got it more up here than Levis does.
Would you take a quarterback in the second round if you're Tennessee? Jackson Dart's getting a lot of hype at the Senior Bowl.
That's hard. That's hard because you can still get a player that can start in the second round. You can draft quarterbacks in the first round and they might not even start. So I mean, second round it's still kind of iffy. I don't know. I almost rather just get a quarterback in free agency. A guy that we think needs a change of scenery sort of situation, that if he comes here, maybe he could be better. Somebody mentioned somebody in that same scenario a little while ago. Cousins. I can't remember who it was. No, it wasn't Cousins. But yeah, what was it, Cousins?
Sam Darnold.
Darnold's already doing his thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. It don't matter. But a quarterback, that
Derek Carr.
Yeah, maybe Derek Carr. Okay. Somebody like that, maybe. Somebody that you're not going to have to break the bank for, first off.
A bridge quarter. What about this? You get multiple first-round picks in years to come. You get a bridge quarterback and take a shot at Arch Manning next year or the year after.
After you build up the team, go for it. Then try to get you a quarterback in the draft. Somebody that looks like –
that would be kind of like an Eagles model.
Arch would be perfect. Arch would be perfect. I think he's the
Yeah.
most NFL ready quarterback, and that sounds silly because he hadn't played that much. But
a guy from Fox Sports said Tennessee should draft him this year and just and sign him like at a later time. That would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that. It'd be like
I don't know why he put that out there. He must have had some kind of clarification that you could
maybe
do it.
So. Hey, I mean, I'd do it. I would if I could.
And let him sit like just did not sign him until he's eligible.
Yeah, because hey, I think he's got all the tools, and he's got the grooming.
That would be a first, but I don't know. I don't know what this guy. I have to look into that, but he was with Fox Sports.
I don't think that's possible.
Legal.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that because first off, he has to declare. You got to declare for the draft before you can be drafted.
You can't get your rights taken. I don't know why this guy put that out there like that.
Don't that make sense though? You have to declare before you can be. If you're not declared to be to the draft, then
that would be something though, wouldn't it?
That would be crazy.
He's not even eligible for another year or two.
It'd be more like baseball, I guess, where they can draft. They draft them in high school and everything else. So
yeah. Kevin Carroll, man, I wish I had longer, buddy.
Yeah, it sucks, but I know
you could come in. We'll talk about the Super Bowl afterwards. It would be a good story if Philadelphia wins. It would. It'd be good either way. Like I said, I'm rooting for a good game. Me too.
I'm good either way. I don't really care who wins.
Coach.
Yeah. Make it like that. I don't care who wins. Just give us a show. Let us.
I don't have a dog in the hunt, man.
Keep us entertained the whole game. That's all I'm asking.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Carroll, everybody. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. See ya. All right, so tomorrow, folks, I'll be back here. I'm a little bit over. Got a lot to talk about tomorrow. I may get into that Joy Taylor stuff. That's a 3-week-old story, but I may get into that Fox Sports story tomorrow as well. And there may be some news in the NBA trade deadline coming up less than a week. And this Jimmy Butler thing is getting weird by the day. So have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place here on The Real Sports Go.